Yeah. No, one of them. I went to school with one of them. The one that I know, I think he's signal bowl. All right, start. Go ahead, we can go ahead. Yeah, I talked to the Savior.
All minds clear? Devarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 6, at verse 4. Hear, O Yisrael, Yahuwah our Elohim, Yahuwah is one. Shema Yisrael, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Yahuwah Echad. Exodus, Shemot, at verse 3. We will have the Most High. You will not make any carved image or any likeness of that which is in Shamayim above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. You will not bow down to them, nor serve them. For Yahuwah Ha'el is a jealous enemy, visiting the wickedness of the fathers on the children, to the third and fourth generation of those that hate him, but showing kindness to thousands of those who love him and keep his commandments. You will not bring the name of Yahuwah in vain. For Yahuwah will not leave us unpunished, who brings his name in vain. We will remember the Shabbat day, to keep it Kodesh. 6 days we will labor, do all our work. But the seventh day is the Shabbat, Yahuwah. For in 6 days, Yahuwah made Shamayim, and the earth, and the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore, Yahuwah barak the Shabbat day. We will respect our fathers and our mothers, so that our days are long upon the earth. We will not murder. We will not commit adultery. We will not steal. We will not bear false witness against our neighbor. We will not covet anything that
Father, Lord, the rest of the way from a long week of labor, Father. We pray and ask, Father, that you would give us strength, Father, that you would give us understanding, Father, according to your word, that you would give us wisdom, impart wisdom upon each and every one of us, Father, according to your will, Father, that you would allow your spirit to abide here with us, Father, to give comfort and understanding according to your word, Father, so that we not forget your commandments, Father. We pray that you would give utterance unto the speaker and understanding unto the hearer, according to your word, so that we all can be doers, Father. All these things we pray and we give thanks, Father. Hashem, Yahuwah, Yahushua, HaMashiach, Baruch HaKodesh, so be it. So be it. Shabbat Shalom. Waiting on Sure. No, turn it to the left hand. Yeah. That's good, right? You already? My head ain't cut off? No. Okay. We wait till. Disconnect your wife. Disconnect your wife. Bring it. Bring it. Say here. Can y'all check to see if anybody else is connected to my hotspot? I can't. I want to kick everybody off because that's what the camera. It don't show who's connected. Huh? No, get that. Check your laptop, maybe. I don't know what happened. Check the laptop, Bill. Yeah, I know. How they get that way? Okay, whoever it was it your laptop? Whoever it was just disconnected. Was it? You're on the main line. Did you already have a sucker? Did you already have one? This will be your only piece. So you choose. You can have it, but no more. Hey, boy. Hey. Hey. I know you hear me. Don't do that. Did it hurt? Did it hurt? Yeah, I see it hurt. Let me see. Let me see. Brother Martin, I be having a gun. The 320 lesson be halfway over. Huh? It's something that came up. Huh? We agreed to 3 though? How many y'all do? I did 3. Nah, look, I did 2 in a row and then 2 in a row again. Look, I talked the weekend together. I did about the very next week.
Hey, slow. All right. We'll go ahead and get started with this 4th beast. You know, I know the whole world believes that the whole world is focused on the quote-unquote white man, right? So I'm gonna challenge your Western mind frame today. Anybody know what the Western mind frame is? What is it? Basically, you think everything is about America, right? Calm down. Same thing. All right, so the Western mind frame makes everything about where you are. Every scripture that you read, you think it's talking about you, even though it directly can say what it's talking about. The Western mind frame makes you think that it's saying that it's you or where you are directly. Then the other thing is the emotional mind. Anybody know what the emotional mind is? Exactly. You're going to go off your feelings and your emotions. Even though you can see the book might say Tennessee, 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 Tennessee. You will still turn around and say, I know that it says Tennessee, but it's really talking about Maryland. The worst thing to be. So we're going to get into the 4th beast. We're going to do some stuff that I normally don't mess with, which is history, but history in its proper context going to line up exactly with what the Bible says. So let's get into it. Romans chapter 15 and verse 4.
Book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime.
Or what?
Aforetime.
So whatever things are written 4 times, what does that mean?
Before.
Before. So Paul is pointing you back to what? The beginning, right? Read.
were written for our learning.
What?
Were written for our learning.
Were written for our learning. So when we want to find out about the fourth beast or the 7 heads, should we start at the end of the book or should we start at the beginning? The beginning, right? We don't go into the movies and pick up the movies when it's a 2-hour movie. We don't go and pick it up at 1 hour and 30 minutes of the movie, right? That's stupid. All right? Get me Isaiah 46, verse 9 and 10.
Isaiah 46 and 9. Remember the former things of old.
He said, do what?
Remember the former things of old.
The former things of old. He's pointing you back as well. Read.
For I am Elohim, and there is none else. I am Elohim, and there is none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning.
Doing what?
Declaring the end from the beginning.
Declaring the end from the beginning. So if I want to know about the end times, he's telling me I should do what? Go to the beginning, right? Same thing that Paul said, right? Read.
And from ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure.
That's it. That's good right there. So we got the same thing with Paul saying this. Give me Matthew chapter 24, verse 38.
The book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 38. Whereas in the days that were before the flood.
Before what?
Before the flood.
Where's the flood really at? Old Testament, right? Ancient times, right? Read.
They were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall the coming of the Son of Man be.
So he's pointing us back to what? Beginning again. Matthew chapter 10, verse 34.
Book of Matthew 10 and 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth.
To do what?
Think not that I am come to send peace on earth.
Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. There's the group who always comes to you. They tell you, peace be upon you. I want y'all to keep this in your mind. It's a specific group of people that always tell you, peace. They say it in their own language. Read.
I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household.
How does this go back to the beginning? What was the first people fighting? Cain and Abel. That's the same. They in each other's household, right? So we got the fight between brothers, the serpent seed and the woman seed, right here, right? So somebody is clearly the serpent seed, and one of them is clearly the woman seed. So all through Genesis, we see what group of people fighting each other. Brothers, right? People in your own family, right? Genesis chapter 4, verse 6.
Genesis chapter 4 and verse 6. And Yahuwah said unto Cain, why are you wroth? And why is your countenance fallen? If you do well, shall you not be accepted? And if you do not well, sin lies at the door, and unto you shall be his desire, and you shall rule over him. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him.
Right there. That's the family member against family member. All the way in the beginning. Right? Genesis 16. The Bible works in patterns. Once you figure out the patterns and how that works, it'll make all of this stuff way more easier for you. More simple for you. Genesis 16, pick it up at verse 10.
Genesis 16 and 10. And the messenger of Yahuwah said unto her, I will multiply your seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. And the messenger of Yahuwah said unto her, Behold, you are with child, and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, because Yahuwah have heard your affliction, and he will be a wild man.
He will be what?
And he will be a wild man.
He will be a wild man. Keep this in your mind. All right? He will be a wild man. Read.
His hand will be against every man.
This is a prophecy, right? Because it says his hand will be against every man. And what else?
And every man's hand against him.
So Ishmael gonna be fighting against everybody. Everybody gonna be fighting against Ishmael. Is that what this say? Right? Read.
And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren.
He gonna do what?
Dwell in the presence of all his brethren.
So wherever Ishmael dwells, he gonna dwell in the presence of where? His brethren, right? Keep that in mind. Read.
And she called the name of Yahuwah.
All right, we good, brother. So that's the next brother in this equation. Let's go to Genesis chapter 21. Pick it up at verse 9.
Genesis chapter 21 and 9. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which she had born unto Abraham, mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, Cast out this bondwoman and her son.
Do what?
Cast out this bondwoman and her son.
Who is this bondwoman and her son? Hagar and Ishmael, right? So get them out of here. Read.
For the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son.
He ain't gonna be heir with my son. This son that she's talking about is who? Isaac. Read.
Even with Isaac. And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. And Elohim said unto Abraham, Let it not be grievous in your sight because of the lad.
Because what?
Because of the lad.
So imagine how Ishmael feel right now towards his father, right? For sending him away. You keep me out. The heir is supposed to, the firstborn is supposed to get the blessing, right? Ishmael is the oldest, right? So imagine how he feels. What the prophecy say about him? His hand shall be against every man, and every man's hand shall be against him, right? So imagine how he feels. All right? Get me Genesis chapter 25, verse 1. Because it says that he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. Let's find out who his brethren are.
Genesis 25 and verse 1. Then again, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. And she bare him Zimran, and Jokshan, and Midian, and Medan, and Ishbak, and Shuah. And Jokshan begat Shabbat and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Asherim, and Letushim, and Lamim. And the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Epher, and Hanuk, and Abidah, and Eldah, All these were the children of Keturah.
All of these were the children of Keturah. But they're also Ishmael's brothers, right? Because they come directly from Abraham. So let's find out where they all stay at. Read.
Verse 5. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. But unto the
what?
Gave all that he had unto Isaac.
So he gave all that he had unto Isaac. But right here, you got a whole bunch of other children right here, right? Read.
But unto the sons of the concubines, which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away.
He did what?
Gave gifts and sent them away.
He gave them gifts and sent them away. But Isaac got everything else. So imagine how all of the other children feel about Isaac. If that took place in your house, how would you feel about Isaac? Kind of salty, right? Because you feel like this ain't right. Why daddy give him everything? Right? Same, just like he said, same way that the brothers felt about Joseph. So they're gonna hate him. They're gonna despise him. Y'all gonna find out this is an ancient hatred. This ain't something new that just pops up in the Greek and Roman period. This is ancient hatred. Read.
Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from his son Isaac, while he yet lived eastward unto the east country.
Unto where?
Unto the east country.
Unto the east country. We're gonna find out exactly where the east country is at real soon. All right. Now, on the flyers and stuff that we always had, they said that we wasn't calling the white man master, but we was calling him what? Massa, right? Well, where does that come from? From what? Hebrew. Let's jump down to verse 14.
Verse 14. And Mishma, and Duma, and Massa.
And who?
And Massa.
That's one of Ishmael's children's name. So, who was oppressing you first? So where you get this name Massa from? Did it start with the white man or did it start with them? This man's name is what? So if you look it up, it's going to tell you exactly what it means. It means burden. So it didn't start with no white man calling you this, of you calling him this. It started from him. That's just a nugget for you. Go to Genesis chapter 25, verse 25. Because we see this ancient hatred, this war between brothers all the way back.
Genesis 25 and 25. And the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment. And they called his name Esau.
Calling who?
Esau.
Read.
And after that, his brother came out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel.
So clearly these two brothers got the same mother and father, right? One is clearly the serpent seed, and one is clearly the woman's seed, right? So it don't matter if you're born from Israel or not. You still can be the serpent seed. It's showing you this right here. Cain and Abel had the same mother and father. One was clearly the serpent seed, and the other one was clearly the seed of the woman. Can y'all see that? All right. So we see that this is the next phase in this war. Genesis chapter 27, verse 39.
Genesis 27 and 39. And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, Behold, your dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
The what?
Your dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
Your dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. They always use this to say, see, Esau rule the world. Read.
And of the dew of Shamayim from above, and by the sword shall you live.
And by the what?
And by the sword shall you live.
By the sword shall you live. Somebody get your e-sword out for me, please. Read.
And shall serve your brother. And it shall come to pass when you shall have the dominion that you shall break his yoke from off your neck.
Stop right there. Jump back to verse 38.
Verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, have you but one blessing, my father?
My bad. Jump back to verse 28.
Verse 28. Therefore, Elohim give you the dew of heaven.
Now he's talking right here to Isaac, saying the same thing. Read.
Therefore, Elohim shall give you the dew of Shamayim and the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine.
So does that mean that we rule the world? But he's giving them the same exact thing that he just gave them. They never read this part. Read.
Let people serve you, and nations bow down to you, and be master over your brethren, and let your mother's sons bow down to you.
Do what?
Let your mother's sons bow down to you.
Let your mother's sons bow down to you. That's the whole reason why all of this stuff is popping off, because they don't want to follow what's been written for them to do, because they feel scorned. Why does my father give everything to him and not to us? It's the same thing. Look at it. Just put yourself in these people's position, and then you can understand that a little bit. Genesis chapter 34. Verse 21.
Genesis 34 and 21. These men are peaceable with us. Therefore, let them dwell in the land and trade therein. For the land, behold, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters to us for wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only herein will the men consent unto us for to dwell with us, to be one people.
To do what?
To be one people.
So how do you become one people? According to this. Intermarry, right? Get me Genesis chapter 36, verse 1.
Genesis 36 and 1. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom.
Who is what?
Who is Edom.
Read on.
Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan.
Of who?
Of the daughters of Canaan.
Of the daughters of Canaan. So if he intermarried with them, they must be what? They start to be one people. Read.
Adah, the daughter of Elam, the Hittite. And Eholibama, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon, the Hivite. And Bashma, Ishmael's daughter.
Whose daughter?
Ishmael's daughter.
Ishmael's daughter. Read.
Sister of Nebaioth. And Adah bare to Esau Eliphaz. And Bashma bare.
We good right here. So we see that Esau intermarried with these people. According to Genesis chapter 34, the way that you become one people is you start intermarrying with one another. And we see that this is multiple people doing this, right? Deuteronomy chapter 23. Pick it up at verse 3.
Deuteronomy 23 and verse 3. An Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of Yahuwah. Even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of Yahuwah forever.
So he just told you that an Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation, nor enter the congregation of Yahuwah, even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of Yahuwah forever. Read.
Because they met you not with bread and with water in the way.
So we know that these are Lot's children. But he's giving you the reason why they can't come in right now, right? Read verse 4.
Verse 4, because they met you not with bread and with water in the way, when you came forth out of Egypt, and because they hired against you Balaam, the son of Beor of Pethor of Mesopotamia, to curse you.
To do what?
To curse you.
To curse you. So now we see we got a beef with Ishmael and all of the other brothers. We got a beef with the Canaanites because of the land. Now we got a beef with Ammon and Moab, right? Written in the book, right? So, Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 1.
The book of Nehemiah, chapter 13 and verse 1. On that day, they read in the book of Moshe, in the audience of the people, and therein was found written that the Ammonite and the Moabite should not come into the congregation of Elohim forever.
What we just read, so they read the law like we supposed to be doing, and they come to the point that we just read. Read on.
Because they met not the children of Israel with bread and with water, but hired Balaam against them, that he should curse them. Howbeit our Elohim turned the curse into a blessing.
He did what?
Turned the curse into a blessing.
Go ahead.
Now it came to pass, when they had heard the law, that they separated from Israel all the mixed multitude. And before this, Elishib, the Kohen, having the oversight of the chamber of the house of El, was allied with unto Tobiah.
So stop right here. So right here, from that day forward, Moab and Ammon did what? Separated, because they got a beef with the children of Israel, because it all go back to the beginning. Get me 1 Samuel 14:46.
Hey, get up. Sit down.
1 Samuel 14:46.
Exactly. Get up and sit down. The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 14 and verse 46. Then Shaul went up from following the Philistines, and the Philistines went to their own place. So Shaul took the kingdom over Israel and fought against all the enemies every side.
He did what?
Fought against all his enemies on every side, against Moab, and against the children of Ammon, and against Edom, and against the kings of Zobah, and against the Philistines. And whithersoever he turned himself, he vexed them.
He did what?
He vexed them.
He vexed them. Go ahead.
And he gathered an host and smote the Amalekites.
He did what?
Smote the Amalekites.
Go ahead.
And delivered Israel out of the hands of them that spoiled them.
In fact, start that over. I want you to key in on the enemies right there. Read that again.
Verse 47. So Shaul took the kingdom over Israel and fought against all his enemies on every side.
All his enemies on every side. Read.
Against Moab, and against the children of Ammon, and against Edom, and against the kings of Zobah, and against the Philistines. And whithersoever he turned himself, he vexed them. And he gathered an host and smote the Amalekites, and delivered Israel out of the hands of them that spoiled them.
So we got the same people, right? And it's the same people that's coming along playing through this. This don't pick up in the Greek period. This thing comes from ancient times, from the beginning. Exodus chapter 3. Pick it up at verse 8.
Exodus 3 and 8. And I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of the land unto the good land, and a large unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites.
But to who?
Of the Canaanites.
Of the Canaanites. So the Canaanites stay in what is known as Jerusalem. So what is he about to do? Read.
And the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites.
And the Jebusites. So all of these people, since the Most High taking the land that they occupy, and they're going to give it to the children of Israel, how do you think they would feel about the children of Israel? They wouldn't like them, right? This is some ancient hatred that we're about to see keep popping up. All right? Somebody got the Esau out for me? Gotcha. All right. Give me Genesis chapter 27 and verse 46. Genesis chapter 27 and verse 46. Hold on, I'm gonna get you my word exactly where I want you to get. 46.
Genesis chapter 27 and verse 46. And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Het.
The daughters of who?
Of Het.
The daughters of Het. Go ahead.
If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Het, such as these, which are of the daughters of the land, what good shall my life do me?
So if you find out, if you look up this Het or whatnot, this guy is a Canaanite. Esau married into them. Look up what Heath's name means.
Terror.
It means what?
Terror.
Say it louder.
Terror.
His name means terror. So Ishmael, the prophecy said he would be what kind of man? A wild man. He married into Esau, which is supposed to live by what?
Sword.
The sword. Right? So they just married into them, which his name means what?
Terror.
Put it all together, you got the wild man that lives by the sword that brings what? Where they all at? Where they all at?
All over.
Am I making this up or what? Let's go. Exodus 17 and 8.
The book of Exodus, chapter 17 and verse 8. Then came Amalek and fought with Israel in Rephidim. And Moshe said unto Joshua, choose us out men and go out, fight with Amalek.
So Amalek just attacked the children of Israel for really no reason. It don't even give you a reason why they start fighting with us. This is the first people that we start fighting with coming out of Egypt. But for apparently no reason, right? So, hit 1 Samuel 15, verse 2 and 3.
1 Samuel 15 and verse 2. Thus says Yahuwah of armies, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way.
How he did what?
How he laid wait for him in the way.
How he laid wait for him in the way. Read.
When he came up from Egypt, thou go and smite Amalek.
Do what?
And smite Amalek.
Go and smite Amalek. Read.
And utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not.
Do what?
And spare them not.
Spare them not. So you see, he got a reason that he's saying to destroy all of Amalek. It ain't just to be mean. He have a reason of saying to destroy them. Read.
And spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling.
Do what?
Slay both man and woman, infant and suckling.
Kill all of them. The reason why, because this ancient hatred, when you first met the children of Israel, you tried to kill them off right there. So now the Most High is paying you back for what you do. First Chronicles, chapter 5, verse 10.
First Chronicles, chapter 5 and verse 10. And in the days of Shaul, they made war with the Hagarites.
With the who?
With the Hagarites.
With the Hagarites. You're going to find out these are the Hagarenes. They're going to mention to you in Psalm 83. Read.
Who fell by their hand, and they dwelt in their tents throughout all the east land of Gilead.
Throughout all the what?
All the east land of Gilead.
So where did Isaac, Abraham's other children go to? East, right? Same people. Jump down to verse 19.
Verse 19. And they made war with the Hagarites, and with Jetur, and Nephish, and Nodab, and they were helped against them, and the Hagarites were delivered into their hand, and all that were with them, for they cried to Elohim in the battle, and he was entreated of them, because they put their trust in him.
So they did what?
Put their trust in him.
Put their trust in him. Now, the book keeps talking about the heathens. The heathen. Who are the heathen? Who? Other nations? Let's narrow it down. Other nations, be more specific. Bring it out, huh? Go on. It's the nations that's surrounding. That's what all of this stuff is about. It don't got nothing to do with no America. It don't got nothing to do with no China. It don't got nothing to do with no Australia. It don't got nothing to do with none of these places. It's all about Israel and the people that surround them. I'm going to bring it out and show you. Give me Leviticus chapter 25, 43.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 25 and verse 43. You shall not rule over him with rigor, but shall fear your Elohim, both your bondmen and your bondmaids.
Read that word for what it is. Both your slave men, read.
Both your slave men and slave women, which shall be of the heathen that are round about you.
That are what?
That are round about you.
What does round about mean? The surrounding nations. So he's saying that the people that you take to be your servants shall be the people from where? The surrounding nations. Read.
Of them shall you buy slave men and slave women. Moreover, of the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall you buy of their families that are with you, which they begat in your land, and they shall be your possession.
They shall be what?
Your possession.
They shall be your possession. So when he's talking about the heathens, the majority of the time, he's talking about the same people, the surrounding nations. This is going to be an overwhelming theme with this. Leviticus, what chapter you just read? 26 and verse 25.
Leviticus 26 and 25. And I will bring a sword upon you that shall avenge the quarrel of my covenant. And when you are gathered together within your cities, I will send the pestilence among you, and you shall be delivered into the hand of the enemy. And when I have broken the staff of your bread, 10 women shall bake your bread in one oven.
Go to Matthew chapter 6 and verse 1. Remember, it's talking about the heathens. Yep. Matthew chapter 6 and verse 1.
The book of Matthew, chapter 6 and verse 1. Take heed that you do not your alms before men.
He said, do what?
Do not your alms before men.
Do not your alms before men. Why does he say that? What is alms? Read.
To be seen of them. Otherwise you have no reward of your Father which is in Shamayim. Therefore, when you do your alms, do not sound a trumpet before you.
What?
Do not sound a trumpet before you.
He said, don't sound a trumpet before you. This is something you got to do with music. Read.
As the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have the esteem of men. Truly I say unto you, they have their reward. But when you do alms, let not your left hand know what the right hand does, that your alms may be in secret, and your Father which sees in secret himself shall reward you openly. And when you pray, you shall not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets.
And where?
In the corners of the streets.
So who are the people that pray outside anywhere? Who do it? Say it like you mean. Same people, right? You're talking about them. Because it's the same people that always do the same thing. He mentioned something about trumpet. All what you got, hit me Daniel chapter 3, verse 4.
The book of Daniel, chapter 3 and verse 4. Then an herald cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, O nations, and languages, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you shall fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up.
You shall do what?
You shall fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up.
So who are the people right to this day, the music come on, stop where they at, and get down and pray? Same people Mashiach was talking about. Right? We know firsthand, we lived in Egypt. Right? Same thing. We're talking about the same people from the beginning. Psalm 79. Before we move any further, actually I have a question. I'm going to plant this in your mind. What people destroyed the temple in 70 AD? Who did? Sure? Papa? Bet your life? So?
He said, bet your life.
Anybody else? Who were the people that destroyed the temple in 70 AD? What? You said that? Romans? You a smart man. Smart man. We're going to find out. History going to tell you the truth. Now that I put that in your mind and got you thinking, let's go back. Psalm 79 and 1.
The book of Psalms, chapter 79 and verse 1. O Yahuwah, the heathen are come into your inheritance.
The who?
The heathen are come into your inheritance.
The heathens have come into your inheritance. According to what we read so far, who are the heathens? Surrounding nations, right? Read.
Your set about temple have they defiled. They have laid Jerusalem on heaps. The dead bodies of your servants have they given to be meat unto the fowls of Shamaim, the flesh of your saints unto the beasts of the earth. Their blood have they shed like water round about Jerusalem, and there was none to bury them.
And there was none to bury them. When we get to Revelation chapter 11, it talks about the two witnesses not being able to be buried because they leave them in the streets for 3 days. They don't let you get buried. Let's see who this is talking about right here. Verse 4.
Verse 4. We are become a reproach to our neighbors.
To who?
To our neighbors.
Who is the neighbors? Surrounding nations. Don't act like you're afraid to say it. I done showed you over and over. It's the same people. It's the same people. Read.
A scorn and derision to them that are round about us.
To who?
To them that are round about us.
To them that are round about us. Last time I checked, Rome ain't round about Jerusalem. Right? Greece ain't round about Jerusalem. But it's some people that stay right around Jerusalem that is talking about. In verse 1, he says, O Elohim, the heathens are coming to your inheritance. They are the holy temple have they defiled. They have laid Jerusalem on heat. But ask y'all again, who destroyed the temple? In 70 AD. The Romans. You sticking to it. You sticking to it too. Gotcha. I like it. Too long though.
Surrounded
We're gonna see. Joel chapter 3. Remember, Revelation 12 and 9 says that old serpent, devil, he deceives what? The whole world. He got the whole world looking at the white man. He got the whole world focused on America. He got the whole world looking at Rome. He got the whole world paying attention all the time. He's mentioning the same people over and over and over again. Whole time he talking about the same people over and over and over again. Joel chapter 3, pick it up at verse 2.
Joel 3 and 2. I will also gather all nations.
You're gonna do what?
Gather all nations.
All nations. Who is this talking? When he just said he gonna gather what? All nations. Does this mean everybody? Or does it mean what I'm trying to tell y'all? Let's see about making it. Read that again.
I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
And did what?
And parted my land.
And parted my land. So it says he's gonna bring all nations right here, right? So the Western mind says, see, this is everybody. What the book say? Jump down to verse 9.
Verse 9. Proclaim you this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and bring your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all you heathen.
All you who?
All you heathen.
So far, who are the heathens? Read.
And gather yourselves together round about.
Go ahead.
There, cause your mighty ones to come down, O Yahuwah, that the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about.
The who?
The heathen round about.
Where they at? The heathens round about. So again, Even when he say all, he talking about who? The heathens that are round about. So that's why he's still talking about them. Even when he say all, he's talking about these people, the same people over and over and over again through the book. And I know the Western mind is saying, well, what about America? What role is they gonna play in it? We'll find out. A lot of people, they don't like the Lord. But he's talking about the same exact people over and over again. Read that verse 12 again.
Verse 12, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat.
So he told you in verse 2, I will gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Right here he says, let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. Now he lets you know exactly what he's talking about. Finish it out.
For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about.
And we have it. He's talking about the same people. Psalm 81, verse 15. What does Islam tell you that you need to do to Allah? Submit, right? Psalm 81, verse 15.
Book of Psalms, the book of Psalms, chapter 81 and verse 15. The haters of Yahuwah.
The who?
The haters of Yahuwah.
The haters of him. So it's somebody that in this world that specifically hates the Most High. According to this, what he just read, right?
Read it again. The haters of Yahuwah should have submitted themselves should have submitted themselves unto him.
He said the haters of him. But who are the haters according to the book? Let's find out. Give me 1 John 2 and 18.
The book of 1 John, chapter 2 and verse 18. Little children, it is the last time, and as you have heard, that Anti-Mashiach shall come. Even now are there many antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us. But they went out, and they might be made manifest that they were not all of us.
So who are the people that's Abraham's seed that was amongst us, came with us? Who are the people that was there from the beginning? Ishmael and who else? And who else? All of them different nations that we've been reading. They the ones that came out. Read on.
They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us. But they went out, and that they might be made manifest that they were not all of us. But you have an unction from the set apart one, and you know all things. I have not written unto you because you know not the truth, but because you know it. And that verse 21.
Go ahead.
And that no lie is of the truth. Who is a liar? But he that denies that Yeshua is Hamashiach.
That do what?
That denies that Yeshua is Hamashiach.
He said this people is the one that denied that Yeshua is Hamashiach. It's some specific people that don't believe that. Read.
He is Antichrist.
He is what?
He is Antichrist.
He is anti-Messiah. Go ahead.
That denies the Father and the Son.
That denies who?
The Father and the Son.
Deny the Father and the Son. Give me 1 John chapter 4, verse 3.
1 John 4 and 3. And every spirit that confess not that Yeshua HaMashiach is come in the flesh is not of Elohim. And this is that spirit of Antichrist.
The spirit of what?
Antichrist.
Spirit of anti-Messiah. All right? I'll show you who the haters of him is. They deny it. Going into the Quran. This is Surah 19 and 88. Pick it up where it's highlighted at.
They say, God, most gracious, has begotten a son. Indeed, you have put forth a thing most monstrous.
Most what?
Most monstrous.
So they saying that if you say that the Most High got a son, this is what?
Most monstrous.
Most monstrous. This is Surah 1988. That's how they move. He says, if you think that the Most High got a son, this is the most what?
Most monstrous.
Read.
At it, the skies are ready to burst.
He's so mad, the sky ready to burst. If you claim that the Most High got a son, the Bible say you got a son, man. Old and the New Testament, right? Read.
The earth to split asunder.
So what is this saying about these people? What spirit are they? Anti-Messiah, right? As wicked as the Romans are, and they pray to Mary and all of that, they don't tell you that the Most High don't got a son, though, right? As wicked as they are, I know a lot of you cats are saying, "You giving the white man." No, it just ain't talking about them. It is. Read.
At it, the skies are ready to burst, the earth to split asunder, and the mountains to fall down in utter ruin. They should invoke a son for the most gracious, for God most gracious, for it is not consonant with the majesty of God most gracious that he should beget a son.
That he should what?
Beget a son.
That he should beget a son. Psalm chapter 2 directly says, "This day I have begotten a son." You denying both right here in the book. Read.
No one of the beings in the Shamayim and the earth, but must come to God most gracious as a servant.
As a what?
As a servant.
As a servant. We good right there. Psalm 83. So remember, Psalm 81 says, the haters of Yahuwah should have submitted themselves. Psalm 83. Pick it up at verse 1.
Book of Psalms, chapter 83, at verse 1. Keep not you silence, O Elohim. Hold not your peace, and be not still, O Elohim. For lo, your enemies make a tumult, and they that hate you have lifted up their head.
And they that what?
And they that hate you have lifted up their head.
And they that hate you have lifted up their head. In Psalm 81, it says, the haters of Yahuwah should have submitted themselves unto him, but their time should have endured forever. Actually means they pretend to submit themselves to him. Read on.
They have taken crafty counsel against your people.
What kind of counsel?
Crafty counsel.
Crafty counsel. This is like the serpent move, subtle counsel, right? But he says, below your enemies make a tumult. Hold what you got. Give me Psalms chapter 2. Psalms chapter 2, pick it up at verse 1.
Psalms chapter 2 at verse 1. Why do the heathen rage?
Why do the what?
Why do the heathen rage?
Who are the heathens again? Read.
And the people imagine a vain thing.
They do what?
Imagine a vain thing.
So he says that these people deny the Father and the Son. That's what John said in 1 John 19. I mean, in the verses that we read, right? Read.
The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahuwah and against his anointed.
So it's showing you they're against both of them. Just like 1 John just told us, right? They're against both of them. They deny the Father and the Son. Read.
Saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us.
All right. Let's go back to Psalms 83. So we're going to find out who are the haters of Yahuwah. Pick it up at verse 2 again.
Psalms 83, verse 2. Below, your enemies make a tumult, and they that hate you have lifted up the head.
And they that hate you have lifted up the head. Read.
They have taken crafty counsel against your people and consulted against your hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
What does this mean right here? He says, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. What does that mean? That means when we finish with these people, you won't even remember them. You won't ever know about any children of Israel. This don't mean sell them into slavery. This means utterly get rid of them. Right? This ain't happened in history yet. Keep that in mind. This is why Mashiach said this. Hold that. Get me Matthew chapter 21, verse. Or is it 20? Yep. Matthew chapter 24, 21.
Matthew chapter 24 at verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be. And except those days be shortened, there shall be no flesh be saved.
Now, so what?
There shall no flesh be saved.
Because your enemies from the beginning, they hate you this much that when this time comes, they're going to try to wipe you out, that Israel don't be remembered, period. Not selling you off into slavery and get rid of you and do this and make you forget who you are, but completely wipe you out as if you never was there. That's what Psalm 83 is talking about. Let's go back to it. So it's going to be so bad that the Most High going to have to shorten the days. Other than that, they would kill every last one of us. It ain't talking about the world. It's talking about us. Read.
But they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against you, the tabernacles of Edom.
Ancient enemy. Read.
The Ishmaelites.
Ancient enemy. Read.
Of Moab.
Ancient enemy. Read.
And the Hagarenes.
Ancient enemy. We read about them. The Hagarites. They're Egyptians from Hagar. Read.
Gabal and Ammon.
Lebanon. Read.
Amalek. The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre.
All ancient nations. And where do they live? Surrounding nations. Surrounding nations. All you got to do is look the places up. Don't let nobody fool you and say, just say their names, but they really all migrated and moved. We were moved. We lost our land. They didn't lose theirs. So they didn't move nowhere. They're in the same areas they have always been. We got moved. Read.
Ashur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Selah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites.
Do us to what?
Do unto them as unto the Midianites.
As unto the Midianites. What happened to the Midianites? The Western mind reads right over this. Oh, he said he did something to the Midianites. Ask him what happened. Nobody don't know. Shouldn't it should take you and say, well, what happened with the Midianites? Let's do like we're supposed to do and find out what happened to the Midianites. Get me Judges chapter 5. Verse 20.
The book of Judges, chapter 5 at verse 20. They fought from Shamaim. The stars in their courses fought against Sisera.
Cicero. In fact, hold that right there. Let's go back to the Psalm 18. Pick it up where you left off. Keep that where we got at right there. I'm coming right back to you.
Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Cisar.
At the brook of Cisar. Now go back and read that, what you just got.
Judges chapter 5 at verse 20. They fought from Shamaim. The stars in their courses fought against Sisera. The river of Kishon swept them away. That ancient river, the river of Kishon. O my soul, you have trodden down strength.
You did what?
You have trodden down strength. Then were the horse hooves broken by the means of their prancing.
Jump down to verse 25.
Verse 25. He asked water, and she gave him milk. She brought forth butter in a lordly dish. She put her hand to the nail, and her right hand to the workman's hammer. And with the hammer, she smote Sisera.
She did what?
She smote Sisera.
This is one of the names in Psalm 83. So he says, do unto them like what they did to Sisera. So the Messiah gonna do this to them. Read.
She smote off his head when she had pierced and stricken through his temple. At her feet he bowed.
At his feet what?
At her feet he bowed.
He bowed. Because these people say that the Most High don't got no son, right? I mean, they hate him, right? But this said that, read verse 27 again.
At her feet he bowed. He fell. He lay down. At her feet he bowed. He fell. Where he bowed, there he fell down, dead.
So it says that Sisera didn't want to do this, but when he died, he fell down and he bowed, right? Give me Isaiah 45:23.
Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 23. I have sworn by myself, the word is gone out of my mouth in righteousness, and shall not return, that unto me every knee shall bow.
What's going to happen?
Every knee shall bow.
Just like Cicero didn't want to do it, but even in his death, he did what?
Bow.
He bowed. They going to bow. Whether you want to or not, you're going to bow. Just like he said, Cicero didn't want to do it, but he bowed at the end. Even though his dead body did it, you're going to bow.
One way or the other.
Exactly. One way or the other. Go back, Judges chapter 4. Pick it up at verse 23.
Judges chapter at verse 23. So Elohim subdued on the day Jabin, the king of Canaan, before the children of Israel.
Another king of Canaan, our ancient enemies, right? Read.
And the hand of the children of Israel prospered and prevailed against Jabin, the king of Canaan, until they had destroyed Jabin, king of Canaan.
Judges 7:25.
Judges chapter 7 at verse 25. And they took two princes of the Midianites, Oreb and Zeeb, and they slew Oreb upon the rock, Oreb, and Zeeb they slew at the winepress of Zeeb.
So we got some more names that we're going to pick back up in Psalm 83. Judges chapter 8, verse 10.
Judges chapter 8 at verse 10. Ba and Zalmunna were at Kakor, and their hosts with them, about 15,000 men. all there were left of all the host of the children of the east.
Of the where?
The children of the east.
Children of the east. Read on.
For there fell 120,000 men that drew sword. And Gideon went up by the way of them that dwelt in the tents on the east of Nobah and Jogbahah, and smote the host, for the host was secure. And when Zebah and Zalmunna fled, he pursued after them and took the 2 kings of Midian. The 2 kings of Midian.
The 2 kings of Midian, read.
Zebah and Zalmunna, and discomfited all the host. And Gideon, the son of Joash, returned from battle before the sun was up, and caught a young man of the men of Sukkot, and inquired of him. And he described unto him the princes of Sukkot, and the elders thereof, even 70 men.
What verse you at?
Verse 14.
Jump down to verse 21.
Verse 21. Then Zebah and Zalmunna said, Rise you, and fall upon us. For as the man is, so is his strength. And Gideon arose and slew Zebah and Zalmunna, and took away the ornaments that were on their camels' necks. Took the ornaments that were on their camels' necks.
Anybody got your sword up for me? Bro, what is that? Look up that. What does that ornaments mean? And I need it big for me.
Ornament 87720 means moon or crescent.
Mean what?
Moon or crescent.
So Gideon was tearing down what? Moon or crescent. Where is that at? Wow. So these people had the crescent on them. All the way back here, right? So who is this actually trying to point you to? Is it the same people? Trying to show you over and over and over again is pointing you to the same people. 1 Kings 18. Verse 26.
1 Kings chapter 18 and verse 26. And they took the bullock which was given them, and they dressed it, and called on the name of Baal from the morning even until noon.
Call on the name of who?
Baal.
Hold on, let's get that cutting video. Turn that camera back there. Oh, you want that? Okay. No, I don't.
You don't want it over there?
No, I want the people to get to see it.
Okay.
One moment. Pick it up where he left off. Yep.
1 Kings 18 and 26. And they took the bullock which was given them, and dressed it, and called on the name of Baal from morning even unto noon, saying, O Baal, hear us. But there was no voice, nor any that answered. And they leapt upon the altar which was made. And it came to pass at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, Cry aloud, for he is a God. Either he is talking, or he is pursuing, or he is on a journey, or peradventure he sleeps and must be awakened.
So he making fun of them. Elijah clowning them. Read.
And they cried aloud and cut themselves.
They did what?
Cut themselves.
They cried aloud and they cut themselves. Keep that in mind. Read on.
After their manner, with knives and lancets, till the blood gushed out upon them.
And these people were so mad. So imagine if these people will cut themselves, what they'll do to you. Right? Take it back. All right. Jerome, I need your assistance, Mark. Hold it for a minute, Trail. One moment.
Everybody see this?
Point it right
Pretty
there.
much.
Later, he said that these people cut themselves. Because Baal is none other than the same God.
Wait, cut his own back.
Oh. Oh. Mm.
Great faith.
What faith do they follow?
It's love. It's on his head. It's on his dome feet.
Ain't that what just happened in the scriptures? We good anyway. They saw what I wanted to be seen. Let's get back to it. Just like in Elijah's days, right? Them people cut themselves. They still do it today. So again, that man is willing to slice his own back like that. What do you think he'll do to the infidel that don't follow his ways? Read that again, because they got it.
And they cried up, verse 28, 1 Kings 18 and 28. And they cried aloud and cut themselves after their manner.
After whose manner?
Their manner.
After their manner. Read.
With knives and lancets, till the blood gushed out upon them.
Jump down to verse 39.
Verse 39. And when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces and they said, Yahuwah, he is Elohim. Yahuwah, he is Elohim. And Elijah said unto them, take the prophets of Baal.
Take the prophets of who?
Of Baal.
Really, modern day Baal is who? Absolutely. The same people doing the same thing. Read that verse 40 again.
Verse 40. And Elijah said unto them, take the prophets of Baal. Let not one of them escape.
Let not what?
One of them escape.
That's going to be the same thing in the end time. Every one of them people, when the Most High come back, he's going to do them just like Gideon did, and going to destroy every last one of them. Not one of them going to escape. Read.
And they took them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook of Kishon.
Same thing that we read in Psalm 83, right? Said, do unto them as they did unto Sisera at the brook of Kishon. Read.
And slew them there. And Elijah said unto Ahab, get thee up, eat and drink, for there is a sound of abundance of rain.
So we know that this is when Elijah stopped the rain and brought back the rain. All this stuff gonna play out again. Give me Proverbs 30, 27. Before you see it out.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 30, and verse 27. The locusts have no king.
The locusts what?
Have no king.
He says the locusts have no king. Why does he say that? The locusts have no king. Go ahead, huh? So the locusts have no king. Go ahead.
The locusts have no king, yet they go forth, all of them by bands.
They go forth, all of them by bands. Give me Revelation chapter 9 and verse 3.
Revelations 9 and 3. And there came out of the smoke locusts.
Came out of it what?
Locusts.
There came out locusts. Go get that Revelation 9 and 3 and look up that locust for me.
Revelation chapter 9 and verse
Locust, right there.
It's from the Greek or the G200.
I want you to read right here. Wait, number 1 at.
It says a locust.
A locust, right? Read, but because it told us in Psalms chapter 30 and 27, it says that the locusts have no king over them, right? Read.
A locust, particularly that species which especially infests Oriental countries, stripping fields and trees. Numberless swarms of them almost every spring are carried by the wind from Arabia.
From where?
From Arabia into Palestine.
Into where?
Into Palestine.
We said the locusts come from where?
Arabia.
And go where?
To Palestine.
Wow. So the locusts come from Arabia, going to Palestine. Okay, let's go back over here. Revelation 9, pick it up at verse 8.
Revelations 9 and 8. And they had hair as the hair of women.
So all the prophecy people will tell you, see, John didn't know what he was seeing right here. This was an Apache helicopter, but he didn't know that it was a helicopter, so he's trying to describe it as best that he can. Where do you get this stuff from? Don't make no sense. Read.
And they had hair as the hair of women.
How is a helicopter? You describing a helicopter with hair? Oh, read, boy.
And their teeth were as the teeth of lions, and they had breastplates as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. And they had a king over them.
They did what?
And they had a king over them.
Wait a minute. Proverbs said that they didn't have a king over them. Right here it says they got what?
A king over them.
Read it.
And they had a king over them, which is the messenger of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue had his name Apollyon.
So let's see who these locusts really are, according to Scripture. Get Judges chapter 6. Judges chapter 6. Judges chapter 6, pick it up at verse 1.
Judges 6 and 1. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah delivered them into the hand of Midian 7 years. Midian.
Same people again, read.
7 years. And the hand of Midian prevailed against Israel. And because of the Midianites, the children of Israel were made them the dens which are in the mountains and caves and strongholds. And so it was when Israel had sown that the Midianites came up, and the Amalekites,
and who?
And the Amalekites.
Go ahead.
And the children of the east.
And the children of who?
Of the east.
And the children of the who?
East.
Children of the east. We're about to look up Arabia in the concordance. Get that number. And it's meaning.
It's H6152. The word is Arab. It means a steppe dweller. The people inhabiting the country east and south of Canaan, the nomadic desert, Bedouin.
So
Arabia.
Arabia is located where? East and southeast of our land, right? But it said right here that these people came from the east. Pick it up where you left off at. Thank you, that
verse 3. And so it was when Israel had sown that the Midianites came up, and the Amalekites, and the children of the east.
And the children of the east. Remember, who all stay in the east, right? Ishmael, all of the brothers, Moab and Ammon, Esau, all of them are the children of the east. Read.
Even they came up against them, and they encamped against them, and destroyed the increase of the earth till you come unto Gaza, and left no sustenance for Israel, neither sheep, nor ox, nor donkey. For they came up with their cattle and their tents, and they came as grasshoppers.
They came as what?
As grasshoppers.
What is a grasshopper? So who are the locusts that Revelation is talking about? The children of the east. The same people. Read that again. They missed it.
For they came up with their cattle and their tents, and they came as grasshoppers.
As what?
As grasshoppers.
As grasshoppers. Read.
For multitude. For both they and their camels.
And their what?
And their camels.
Where the camels at? I ain't seen the camel in Rome yet. You gotta go to the ghetto with Rome. So it just told us about the children of the east again, right? Revelation 16, verse 11.
Revelation chapter 16 and verse 11. And blasphemed the power of Shamaim because of their pains and their swords, and repented not of their deeds. And the sixth Malachim poured out his on the great river Euphrates. And
what river?
Upon the great river Euphrates.
So if you look at the great river Euphrates, we know that it goes right through Middle East, quote unquote, Middle East, right? But all the guys will tell you that this is talking about China. Had nothing to do with no China. Read.
Upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, and that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared.
Read it again.
That's
the king is king.
That the way of the kings of the east.
Plural, so we know it ain't talking about no China. It mentions multiple kings. That the kings of the east. So the water is dried up, that the kings of the east is coming through to do battle. Where's the kings of the east coming from again? The same place that the book keep talking about over and over and over again. Finish that off.
And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon and out of the mouth of the beast.
All right, we good right here. So we see when this happens, that this anti-Mashiach is going to be on the scene at this time. Now, let's go into some history, which I normally don't do. But I noticed the Western mind likes history more than they like scripture, which is completely backwards. You would take history over what the Bible says. Even though I just showed you 1,000 scriptures pointing to the same people, to the same place, still turn around and say, America, don't I? Makes no sense. All right, get into some history. As we know, in 70 AD, Titus was the Roman general who sacked Jerusalem and destroyed the temple.
It says, as we know, in 70 AD, Titus was the Roman general who sacked Jerusalem and destroyed the temple, rebuilt by Herod. Historical records tell us Titus' 4 legions surrounded Jerusalem. They were 3 legions on the west side of the city, and the 4th legion approached from the Mount of Olives.
So Rome, whenever they did their thing, they had what they call legions in them. Keep that in mind. Read.
The 4th legion approached from the Mount of Olives from the east. General Titus was quite crafty in that he put pressure on the food and water supplies by allowing thousands of observant Jewish pilgrims to enter the city to celebrate the Passover that year. Then he refused to allow them to leave. Many fought hard against the legion. At one point, Titus was nearly captured, but in the end, much of the population was killed, dispersed, or enslaved. Jerusalem was significantly broken, and the temple was destroyed.
And what was destroyed?
The temple was destroyed.
That's all again. One more time. Who destroyed the temple? Sticking with it? Go ahead.
The Roman historian Publius Cornelius Tacitus giving us his own account of this event. Early in the year, Titus Caesar, who had been elected by his father to complete the subjugation of Judea, and who had gained distinction as a soldier, while both were still subjects, began to rise in power and reputation, as armies and provinces emulated each other in their attachment to him. The young man himself, anxious to be thought superior, ever displaying his gracefulness and his energy in war. By his courteous and affability, he called forth the willing obedience, and he often mixed with the common soldier while working or marching, without impairing his dignity as general. He found in Judea 3 legions, the 5th, the 10th, and the 15th, all old troops of Vespasian's. These he added the 12th from Syria.
From where?
From Syria.
From Syria. You're going to soon see that Syria is a part of Western Turkey. Keep that in mind. Read.
To these he added the 12th from Syria, and some men belonging to the 18th and the 3rd, whom he had withdrawn from Alexandria.
Now remember, the quote-unquote Romans are in charge. Read.
This force was accompanied by 20 cohorts of allied troops and 8 squadrons of cavalry, by the 2 kings, Agrippa and Sohemus, by the auxiliary forces of King Antiochus, by a strong contingent of Arabs.
Of who?
Of Arabs.
By a strong contingent of what?
Of Arabs.
Where are the Arabs located?
East and south of Canaan.
Read on.
By a strong contingent of Arabs who hated the Jews.
Who did what?
Who hated the Jews.
Who hated the Jews. So guess what? If you were to see your enemy was fighting with somebody else, Would it be natural to join your enemy to get rid of, to join them to get rid of them? Let's walk it out, read.
Who hated the Jews with the unusual hatred of neighbors.
Read.
Tactics, the History of Ed Edition, book 5.1, editor.
You know?
Moses Hadass, translator, Alfred Church, William Broaddeed, Modern Library, New York, 2003, cited the source. There are a few important pieces of information that Tacitus tells us. The first is that the Roman legions were accompanied by a strong contingent of Arabs.
Strong contingent of Arabs. So in the Roman legion, so it's the Romans in name, but we see that it's actually somebody else that's doing this. An ancient hatred. Let's go.
Who hated the Jews with the unusual hatred of neighbors. The Jewish historian Josephus also records that many other kings.
Joseph, I just so happen to have a copy of it. Read.
That many other kings and their armies from the immediate nations that surrounded the land of Israel.
There we go again. Just like the book been saying over and over again, it's all about surrounding people. Read.
That many other kings and their armies from the immediate nations that surrounded the land of Israel accompanied the Roman legions as they went on to attack Jerusalem. So Vespasian sent to his son Titus from Asia to Alexandria to bring back with him from thence the 5th and the 12th legions, while he himself, when he passed over the Hellespont, came by land into Syria, where he had gathered together Roman forces with a considerable number of auxiliaries from the kings in that neighborhood. Flavius Josephus, the complete works of Josephus, the wars of the Jews, or the history of the destruction of Jerusalem. Book 3, chapter 1, paragraph 3. Let's look further where Josephus specifies not only the names, but also the numbers of the king legion warriors who were willingly recruited to join in the attack against the Jews and Jerusalem. Malchus, also the king of Arabia.
King of who?
The king of Arabia.
So Malchus, king of who?
Arabia.
Read.
Sent 1,000 horsemen, beside 5,000 footmen, the greatest part of which were archers, so that the whole army, including the auxiliaries sent by the kings, as well horsemen as footmen, when all were united together, amounted to 60,000, besides the servants, who as they followed in vast numbers. So because they had been trained up in war with the rest, ought not to be distinguished from the fighting men. For as they were in their masters' service in times of peace, so did they undergo like dangers with them in times of war, in so much that they were inferior to none, either in skill or in strength, only they were subject to their masters. Flavius Josephus, the complete works of Josephus, the war of the Jews of the history of the destruction of Jerusalem, book 3, chapter 4, paragraph 2. Another important piece of information can be gathered from both Josephus and Tacitus. It is precisely with legions of fighting men were involved in this attack. Legion, those Roman joints. I can read. Yep. The greatest part of the Roman garrisons was raised out of Syria.
Out of where?
Out of Syria.
Out of Syria. So keep that in mind. Syria is also, quote unquote, Western Turkey. Keep that in mind. Read.
And being thus related to the Syrian part, they were ready to assist it. The Wars of the Jews, History of Destruction of Jerusalem by Flavius Josephus, William Hinston, book 2, chapter 13, paragraph 7. Again, knowing the great hatred that the Syrians had for the Jews of Jerusalem, Josephus elsewhere recounts that the Syrians and Arabs who were camped outside of the city of Jerusalem actually disemboweled over 2,000 Jews who had escaped the city.
They did what?
Disemboweled over 2,000 Jews.
What does disemboweled mean? Disemboweled them, took their intestines out, because our people were swallowing their silver and their gold, trying to escape with it. Read.
We had escaped the city in order to search for any gold that they may have swallowed. The multitude of the Arabians.
The multitude of who?
Of the Arabians.
The multitude of the
Arabians.
And one more time.
The multitude of the Arabians.
And who else?
With the Syrians.
With the Syrians, with Western Turkey, read.
Cut up those that came as supplicants and searched their bellies. Nor does it seem to me that any misery befell the Jews that was more terrible than this, since in one night's time about 2,000 of these deserters, were thus dissected. The Wars of the Jews, History of the Destruction of Jerusalem by Flavius Josephus, William Hinston, book, whatever that is, chapter 13, paragraph 4.
Who did that to him?
I don't know the Roman numerals, got it? Is that 5? That's 5. Book 5. Book 5. Excuse me if I end up on my Roman. It's bad. Oh no, I'll deal with the Romans. Look, when we look at the history of the 4 Roman legions that were under Titus, command during the siege against Jerusalem, we can now see that the soldiers were from the eastern portion of the Roman Empire.
From what?
The eastern portion of the Roman Empire.
Read on.
And were primarily from Syria.
From where?
Syria.
Read.
Which is also known as Eastern Turkey.
That's Eastern what?
Turkey.
That's Eastern Turkey. So, the actual people, you know, the quote unquote Romans was in charge, actually was who that did this.
There.
But I know what you're saying. Still, the Romans gave them the charge to do this, right? I know the rest of mine. Let's go. I know the rest of mine. Let's see. Was it? Because Titus, same thing with Pontius Pilate, right? Pontius Pilate wanted to let the Messiah go. It was our people, along with Esau and them, that was egging that thing on.
The Wars of the Jews, chapter 4, paragraph 6. And now a certain person came running to Titus.
Running to who?
Running to Titus.
Running to Titus, read.
And told him of this fire.
Let's see if Titus ordered the temple to be burned. Read.
As he was resting himself in his tent after the last battle, whereupon he rose up in the great haste, and he ran to the holy house, or the Kodesh house.
Talking about the temple, read.
In order to have put a stop to the fire.
So Titus wanted to stop the temple from being burned. That means somebody would have took it on their own hands to do it. The same people that's been hating us since we've been a people. Read.
After him followed all his commanders, and after them that followed the several legions in great astonishment. So there was a great clamor and tumult raised, as was natural upon the disorderly motion of the great army. Then did Caesar, both by calling to the soldiers that were fighting with a loud voice, and by giving a signal to them with his right hand, ordered them to quench the fire.
He trying to stop them. Titus wanted to stop burning the temple. He don't want this. Read.
But they did not hear what he said, though he spoke so loud, having their ears already dying by a greater noise another way. Nor did they attend to the signal he made with his hand neither. As still some of them were distracted with fighting, and others with passion. But as for the legions that came running there, neither any persuasions nor any threatenings could restrain their violence. But each one's own passion was his commander at this time. And as they were crowding into the temple together, Many of them were trampled one by one another, while a great number fell among the ruins of the cloisters, which were still hot and smoking, and were destroyed in the same miserable way with those which they had conquered. And when they were come near to the Kodesh house, they made as if they did not so much as hear Caesar's order.
Make it pretend that they didn't hear him saying to stop burning the temple, because they wanted to burn it down anyway, because they know who we are. Same thing. They heard him say stop. They burned it down on purpose. Read.
But they encouraged those that were before them to set it on fire.
To do what?
Set it on fire.
To set it on fire. Up over here. Right here. Yep.
And now, since Caesar was no way able to restrain the enthusiastic fury of the soldiers.
Who are the soldiers again?
The ones from Syria.
Syria and where?
And Arabia.
Read.
And the fire proceeded one more and more. He went into the Kodesh place of the temple with his commanders and saw it with what was in it, which he had found to be far superior than to what the relations of foreigners contained, and not inferior to what we ourselves boasted of and believed about. But as the flame had not as yet reached to its inward parts, but was still consuming the rooms that were about the Kodesh house. And Titus, supposing that the fact was that the house itself might yet be saved.
Titus, the Roman, is still trying to save the house. But the other people that's under him is trying to get rid of it.
Came in haste and endeavored to persuade the soldiers to quench the fire, and gave orders to Liberalius, the centurion, and one of those spearmen that were about him, to beat the soldiers that were refractory with the staves, and to restrain them, yet with their passions too hard for the regard they had for Caesar, and the dread they had of him who forbade them.
So they want to obey Caesar, but why? Read.
As was their hatred of the Jews.
As of what?
Their hatred of the Jews.
So they hate us so bad, they want to obey Caesar, but this is our opportunity. This is when our opportunity. Let's get rid of them right now. Read.
And a certain vehement inclination to fight them, too hard for them also. Moreover, the hope of plunder induced many to go on, and having this opinion, that all the places within were full of money, and as seeing that all around about it was made of gold, and besides one of those that were in the place prevented Caesar, when he ran so hastily out to restrain the soldiers, and threw the fire upon the hinges of the gate in the dark, whereby the flame burst out from within the Kodesh house itself immediately. When the commanders retired, Caesar with them, and when nobody any longer forbade those that were without to set it to fire, and thus the Kodesh house burnt down without Caesar's prohibition.
So again, the temple, Caesar didn't order, or Titus didn't order the temple to be burned. Our ancient enemies took this upon themselves to do these things. And it's the same people that we've been fighting with all along, whole time. So now, let's look up the Romans. Let's go to Daniel. Finally made our way to Daniel. Daniel chapter 2, verse 36.
Book of Daniel, chapter 2 and verse 36. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. You, O king, are a king of kings For Elohim of Shamaim have given you a kingdom, power, and strength, and esteem. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of Shamaim have he given in your hand, and he have made you ruler over them all. You are his head of gold. And after you shall rise another king inferior to you, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom,
what kingdom?
The fourth kingdom,
read,
shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaks in pieces and subdues all things, and as iron that breaks all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise.
Shall it break in pieces and bruise. So to qualify to be the fourth kingdom of the fourth beast, this is what must happen. The fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdue all things, as iron that breaketh all these, meaning the kingdom that was before it, shall it break in pieces and bruise. So it has to break in pieces all the kingdoms that was before it. All right. Daniel chapter 7, verse 2.
Daniel 7 and 2. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of Shamaim strove upon the great sea, and the four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings.
First like a lion. This is Babylon. Read.
I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself one on one side.
This is Medo-Persia. Read.
And it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard.
Like a who?
Like a leopard.
Like a leopard. So we have a lion, a bear, and a leopard. Right? So the lion is Babylon, the bear is Medo-Persia, and this leopard you'll find is the Greek Empire. Read.
Which had upon the back of it 4 wings as a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly.
Stop right there. So we got the first couple of beasts. Right? All what you got right there. Get me Daniel 2 and 35.
Daniel 2 and 35. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broke into pieces together.
So what?
Broke into pieces together.
So all of these kingdoms combined at the end, because the Messiah is going to do what to them? Destroy them all together. Keep that in mind. They all going to be destroyed together. Right? So again, Babylon is the lion. Medo-Persia is the bear. Persia is, Babylon the lion. Medo-Persia is the bear. And the leopard is Greece. So lion, bear, leopard so far. Revelation chapter 13, verse 1.
Revelations 13 and 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
Like unto who?
A leopard.
Like unto Greece. Greece is the leopard that we just read about, right? Read.
And his feet were as the feet of a bear.
The bear is Medo-Persia, right? Read.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
That is Babylon, right? Read.
And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death.
One of his heads as wounded to death. Hold that. Revelation chapter 17, verse 6.
Revelation 17:6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yeshua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the Amalekite said unto me, wherefore do you marvel? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries her.
So it's a woman and it's a beast. The woman is riding the beast. When a man is riding a horse, even though the horse is 1,000 times stronger than the man is controlling the horse, all right? So the horse is controlling the beast. They are separate entities, but they come together. Keep that in mind. Read.
And the beast that carries her, which have 7 heads and 10 horns.
7 heads, meaning it has 7 kingdoms. Read.
The beast that you saw was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is.
So one of these beasts, one of these heads got wounded and went away. Don't come back at the end. The whole world is waiting for Rome to do this. We're going to show you that that's not right. Jump down to let's go to Daniel 7:7.
Daniel 7:7. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth, and it devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. And I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns, plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things.
And a mouth speaking great things. So we see that this horn is speaking great blasphemous words against the Most High. Right? One of them have to go away. This beast is different from all the beasts that was before it. What makes this beast different? It is, quote unquote, the Roman Empire, but it is not the Romans. What makes this beast different from all the rest of the beasts is Rome split into 2 kingdoms. Can you give me that board right there? That last one right there with the armor on it. Hey, Harry, can you read that?
Yeah.
Everybody good.
Stood on the chair again. But you say he still ain't got a jump?
I said you got all that reach, you still ain't got no jump, Again, see him on the court. What makes this kingdom different than all the rest of them? It was split into 2 kingdoms. Everything is revolved around the Mediterranean Sea. This is the Western Roman Empire, and this is the Eastern Roman Empire. Who were the people of the eastern half of it that we just read about? Syria and who? And who else? All because this is Turkey, Syria, Israel, Tyre, Jerusalem, Egypt. All of this is the eastern part of this kingdom, right? So we know through history in 470 something, the barbarians defeated the western half of the Roman Empire, which is where the actual Romans or Italians was at. So this side of the kingdom ceased to exist, right? This kingdom fell off. It went away. It was no more. But this side, over here, it lived on. It kept going. Then the Ottoman Turks came in, took this part, and it kept going. And the Ottoman Turks were what faith, anybody?
Islam.
Islam, right? So the Ottoman Turks came over and crushed all of the kingdoms that was before it.